We are so lucky today on today's Pillar Profile to be joined by Stan FLOREZ in person, the man, the myth, the legend.
That's right.
We were just talking about there's a lot of new innovators on campus, new employees, new visions.
Yeah.
Stan exemplifies all of them.
That's right.
I think that his assets within the spiritual world, meeting the intellectual world, everything that we are doing with our pillars of Zoe-Life is brought out by this guy.
That's true.
Wow.
So Stan is our campus chaplain. So he takes care of the needs of the residents that are all over the campus and also some of the employees as well. So he is really open to everyone that is here at Glencroft Center for Modern Aging. And we're so thrilled that this month we had him do an article for the Zoe-Life magazine. Hopefully you have received a copy of the new Zoe-Life magazine. If not, you can get them in the administration building. And I think Providence Place has some too. But I wanted him to highlight a little bit about his article. It's wonderful. And so tell us a little bit about the inspiration for the article that you wrote.
Well, a lot of it had to do with my own personal experience in chaplaincy. You know, I've been a chaplain from a fire department chaplain for 27 years, moved into hospice chaplain, hospital chaplain, prison chaplain. Yeah. That was a fun one. And then now here working at Glencroft. And what I've seen in chaplaincy is that it is a way to get people connected to the divine, to God. And most people will admit, no matter where they are in the world, that they are spiritual or they believe in God or gods. As a chaplain, it's our job to connect them with God. And as a Christian chaplain, I first of all help them get their facts, get what they need, their Bibles, their materials, and however. And then if they ask me those questions about what I believe, I get the opportunity to share with them what I believe. So the article is called Bridge to God. And it is how we connect people with the divine, with God, okay? And that's where I got the inspiration.
It's so interesting, and you'll learn a little bit more about Stan by reading that article. So, like I said, please get a copy of it. It's a great magazine.
Thank you, thank you.
We've been lucky because we've gotten access to Stan and his mind and his way of presenting in a lot of different formats.
That's right.
We had him on the radio.
We did have him on the radio, and actually we had the highest number for our radio show. We had the highest number of people that responded immediately than we have had since we've been doing this show for almost 3 years. But we really talked about how faith is important to our health, and that it was a great show.
And we had a beautiful guest also.
Yes, his wife, of course.
That's why I went up so high.
That was it. Yes.
So as we backtrack and you decided to make Glencroft your new home, and you kind of heard the vision of Zoe-Life and what we were trying to do on campus with the culture and being the spiritual pillar was number one, and community of faith and Joel and everything that we had accomplished in our first year. What part of that or all of that resonated with you? What kind of brought you to the table and was like, man, I could buy in on that?
When I first came here to interview for the job, and you see the sign, Zoe-Life, over, kind of
Henry's,
Henry's,
with the banner.
And I said, Zoe-Life, okay, all right, abundant life, all right, I get it, but what are they doing? And so as John was interviewing me with Scott, and they were telling me what they were doing, and they said they wanted, they're making some major moves here in Glencroft, as well as in the country, with regarding the care of our aging people.
Right.
And so he said, have you heard of Zoe-Life? And I said, no, I haven't, but I saw the sign. So he explained to me a little bit about what Zoe-Life was. He brought me down here, and he said, he specifically brought me down here. He said, I want you to notice these pillars on the wall. And then he turned around and said, the first one you can see is the spiritual pillar. And he says, we believe that is the rock foundation of the other pillars in order to promote a healthy way of living. And he said, we're not here to grow old, we're here to live life.
That's right.
And I said, wow. I said, I like that. I mean, I heard what Zoe-Life was, and from that point on, I said, I'm sold. I said, I hope they hire me. I hope they hire me, because I like this stuff. I believe in it.
That is so,
of course.
And that's when you hear him talk in those terms, right?
That's right.
It's just like goosebumps, because
Right.
that is what we're trying to do.
That's exactly right.
It's everything that we set out for to accomplish on this campus, out over the walls, is to bleed that Zoe culture of the spiritual components, number one, and all the other pillars bleed off of that.
Yeah, and being in my education and background, I've heard that, you know, it's even like in the Bible, body, mind, and spirit. There are elements that make us.
That's right.
Okay? But then if you turn around and look at it from the Zoe life, and you develop and you work on every one of spiritual, emotional, physical, social, intellectual, vocational. I said, that's it. That encompasses everything that everybody needs to help them.
That's right.
And encourage them, inspire them to live life to its fullest.
Well, and you know, it takes us into a whole new realm of aging in that this isn't the end, you know? This is just a continuation of life and living it to the very best that we possibly can.
And you're working on every part of the human psyche, if you will, and body. And so they're growing, they're stretching, and they're striving for more and more and more, and that brings longevity and an abundant life.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, what I've really enjoyed, I mean, we've got Stan, like I said earlier, on so many levels, but I think with what is coming, with partnering the spiritual pillar with the emotional pillar and putting these safety nets in place on campus for prevention of all sorts of mental illness and whatnot, there's so much potential, right, in place when you combine the pillars together, led by good expertise. It's like the limitless possibility. So I'd love for these guys to know that within the employee wellness program that we started and we're in beta, we're trying to get the employees to understand each pillar and what Zoe means and be tangible and go through it and feel it. And within that structure is opportunity to sit with Stan in the boardroom and have an hour. We call it lunch and learn. But tell us like your experience working with the staff and being in that, and tell us what the topic you guys are going over.
Well, we're doing a series on prayer, connecting with God. And we recognize that as in the spiritual foundation, if we connect with God, you know, how do we communicate? How do we speak with one another? What does prayer encompass? And how is there a way to pray? And I mean, it's so cool to have everybody there and to do a study on that. And I love it. I mean, it's just so exciting.
But I think it's so cool that the associates and the employees are getting to experience this firsthand and have this moment in the middle of the day at 12 o'clock, brown bag lunch, be able to powwow like that, and then have the rest of your day to be uplifted, and then hit the streets of Glen Crop with this like
makes a huge difference.
Right?
It really does.
You know, and I believe there's a movement. I really believe there's a movement by God to help these people, help us, right?
Yeah.
And so, and in doing so, my wife told me the same thing. She said, "You're not going to believe this. I went to church, or I saw this on TV, a devotional, and she said, it's on the same thing that we're studying." I said, it's not that we're doing something unique. It's just that we're connecting with God.
That's exactly
We're connecting with God, and He's wanting to connect with His people.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
I think it's cool. Okay, so last thing, I want to talk through what we're doing at Providence Place as a whole with the beta program. You were in it from the beginning with our immediate conversations when you arrived on campus and said, the goal of Zoe Life isn't IL, it is to get into that building over there. And being that a campus chaplain like you are the perfect person that you are housed over there, and you're already an integral part of the building. How can you tie in beta with us? So tell us some of the ways that you have been a part of beta, what you've seen, and some of your synopsis.
Well, first, what I've seen is that the Providence Place has turned around and said, you know what, we are becoming a part of this movement that's taking place here. And I've seen all the effort and the energy of reaching out to Providence Care and saying, we're going to give you the best. We're going to give you the best that we got.
That's right.
And we want this to be your baby, and you take it from here. And I've seen ownership. I've seen the staff starting to get excited, starting to find out what's going on, specifically when we start to see the results. I mean, I'm blown away. I'm getting goosebumps. My hair's standing up right now. Can you see that right there? It's standing up because look at that goose. You see the goose?
I see it, man.
Because it's true. I've seen people, I talk to the residents, and when you have a couple residents say is, you know, my only goal is to go swimming. My only goal is to get in the water. And then when I talk to them after they've been in the water, they're just beaming, they're excited, they're sharing it with other people, and then the staff is turning around and seeing the results. It's a fire. It's just a fire catching on over there. And you know, so that's what I see. And then I see another one of the beta group's members was afraid of the water. Was totally, so, you know, she had an experience of where she possibly almost drowned or something. She's that terrified. She said, "I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it." And we just said, "Okay, no pressure. You know, whatever you feel comfortable with, you take that into yourself, and then we'll go from there."
Right.
And so when she started hearing and she saw the pictures, I walked through the hall. I saw the pictures on the thing, and when she's looking and she's saying, "That's Dave, and that's Kenny," and I said, "Yeah," and they're in the water, and she goes, "Wow!" And she goes, and I said, "Are you ready to go?" And she goes, "I think I'm gonna give it a try." That's the excitement that's taking place.
That's momentum.
Absolutely.
And the results
are amazing.
It's just awesome, man.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful, and I thank God to be a part of it.
Aw,
Just to be a
Stan.
small part.
Thank you so much for joining us today. You are such an inspiration to everybody.
thank
Your
you. I thank
enthusiasm,
God.
your
Thank God.
love for what you do, it's just wonderful.
Amen. And you can see my wife at Club One on Sunday mornings and on Monday all day long. And I happen to be there also.
And he's so proud of her.
I am.
So
I love her so
that.
dearly. And she speaks better than me, right?
You're both
You're
great.
Well, thank you. We
You do a great
love
job,
it.
man.
We
We
love
love
it.
having
We love being a
Perfect.
part.
Thank you so much.
God bless.